anyone remember any recent food recalls of fresh vegetables? How about on dog food? Hamburger? It's certainly unnerving to have suspicions about the safety of the food on our tables. Or like many of us, perhaps you're trying to get your kids to eat healthier, or you want to improve your own health by increasing more fresh fruits and vegetables in your diet. I'm going to talk about the Food Safety Modernization Act. I've recently written and sold a number of informative articles, papers, and a book describing and detailing the raw agricultural commodity market's efforts to fulfill the Food Safety Modernization Act's requirements ahead of time, and the remarkably effective results of those initiatives. Essentially, the mandates outlined in the Food Safety Modernization Act will have sweeping individual and global implications by serving to ensure the integrity of our food supply. And since the safety and actual supply of our food to our restaurants, homes, and grocery stores will be affected by this massive legislative act, it's important to understand how the Food Safety Modernization Act will impact our health, our national economy, and the global food supply. First, let's look at the way the Food Safety Modernization Act will impact the health of consumers. Among other things, the Food Safety Modernization Act alters the way growers, processors, and retailers must track raw agricultural commodities, or RACs. According to the FDA, the law signed in 2011 issues generalized directives and regulatory compliance guidelines that include record keeping and accessibility, foreign and domestic facilities inspections, and registration compliance procedures. But the Food Safety Modernization Act doesn't actually explain how to accomplish any of this. Some changes you'll see are more barcodes on fresh produce and improved variety and availability on certain produce items. The intended results of the program, or the act, are fewer recalls on fresh produce and fewer contaminations due to heightened sanitation measures that limit pathogen growth. The superior identification and traceability procedures will be able to isolate and detect contamination points better. So instead of having a recall for Florida, Kentucky, and Tennessee, you'll just, growers will be able to just remove certain sections much smaller. Because the federal government has not established protocols for implementation, the produce industry itself has developed the initiatives for compliance applications. So next, let's examine how these changes will affect the national economy. Although the Bioterrorism Act of 2002 required that produce handlers keep internal records regarding the source and shipments of RACs, the new law has no such provisional outlines. So various produce industry associations formed a cooperative to create the Produce Traceability Initiative, or PTI. Now, these business leaders focused on produce safety because consumer confidence in the market has a direct impact on their profits. Their implementation plan included 7 easy, cost-effective steps that any retailer, grower, or processor could implement very quickly. In fact, speaking to the PTI Leadership Council in May of 2011, FDA Deputy Commissioner of Food Mike Taylor stated, "We are keenly aware that the industry has been at the forefront of understanding traceability. We're going to need to build on and embrace the work that the industry has done." Well, these traceability measures will affect businesses. Small farms, farmers markets, and processors will not be affected by the Food Safety Modernization Act if their gross sales are less than $25,000 a year or $300,000 a year, respectively. Farms, processing facilities, and retailers larger than that will be subject to periodic FDA inspections. Items like root vegetables, which are normally cooked before consumed, are also exempt from the Food Safety Modernization Act. Now, it also outlines the FDA's responsibilities. They have to establish a national database for external traceability of every fruit and vegetable sold in the United States. They must perform periodic domestic inspections and tests for high-risk facilities. And according to the Congressional Budget Office in 2010, the expected cost of the project minus any work done by the independent industry is $1.5 billion by the year 2015. However, no new actual projections or costs have been released at this time. And now that we understand the financial implications of the Act, last let's look at these traceability changes and how they'll affect the global food supply. FSMA doesn't just encompass domestic facilities. Under the law, the FDA is responsible for performing foreign facility inspections. And it states that they're supposed to complete 600 inspections of the first year, and that number is supposed to double for the next 5 years each year. However, again, no real provisions have been outlined for the mandate other than vague objectives that propose partnerships with food safety associations around the globe. In conclusion, the integrity, safety, and supply of the raw agricultural commodities affect all of us, from the grower who plants the seed to the consumer who eats the produce. The mandates established by FSMA will have individual and global implications by serving to ensure the integrity of our food supply. But the changes involved in the Act will not only impact the health of consumers by limiting the outbreak of foodborne illnesses, it will also alter the cost of that food and the way the global supply is orchestrated. Knowing how this encompassing legislative act will affect your life can help you understand the changes taking place right now on grocery store shelves and help prepare you for future increases in costs for fresh produce. Thank you.